Hello and welcome. You're watching News Central Television. I am Judith TV. It's time for News Central now, and here are the top stories at this hour. Nigerian Medical Association slams federal government's plan to deploy doctors abroad. Court orders Akpoti-Odoaha to pay 5 million naira fine, publish formal apology. And DR Congo, Rwanda agreed to end support for armed groups. Details shortly. And we begin with health matters, where the Nigerian Medical Association has criticized the federal government's decision to deploy Nigerian doctors to St. Lucia under a technical manpower assistance agreement, calling it inexcusable amid worsening conditions for medical professionals at home. The NMA highlighted poor remuneration, unpaid allowances, hazardous working environments, and delayed payments as ongoing issues causing burnout and mass immigration of doctors within Nigeria. The association condemned the government for paying doctors deployed abroad significantly more, 40.8 million naira annually compared to 11.9 million naira for those working domestically, while St. Lucian doctors earn up to 131.7 million naira. The NMA warned that this policy encourages brain drain, worsens public health outcomes, and undermines doctors' welfare and professional dignity in Nigeria. And off to the capital of Nigeria, where the Federal High Court in the capital has found Natasha Akpoti-Odoaha in contempt over a satirical apology she posted on Facebook. The court fined her 5 million naira payable into the court registry. In addition to the fine, Akpoti-Odoaha was ordered to publish a formal apology both on her Facebook page and in 2 national newspapers. The ruling follows her challenge against a 6-month suspension from the Senate. The senator is expected to comply with the court's directives within the stipulated time frame to avoid any further penalties. In a somber mood, Nigerian President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has sent a delegation to commiserate with the Kano state government, with the family of late Alhaji Aminu Dantata and the people of Kano state over the death of the elder statesman Aminu Dantata. Vice President Kashim Shettima, who led the delegation, prayed for the deceased for Almighty Allah to forgive his shortcomings. Kano Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf received the delegation headed by the Vice President from the airport to the deceased home at Koki, and after the condolences, escorted them to the airport. Shettima urged the family to remain united and not allow material wealth to sow division among them. Still in Kano State, the state government there has banned the importation of scrap and waste materials from the northeastern region of the country following 2 deadly explosions at metal scrap yards in the state. The incidents, which occurred within 2 weeks in Kofa, Ruwa, and Kofa Dawano, claimed 7 lives and left several others injured, prompting growing concern among residents and authorities. News Central's Emmanuel Bagudu reports.
It began on the 21st of June when a trailer loaded with metal scraps from neighboring Yobe State arrived at this scrap collection center. Hidden within the load were explosives, which detonated, killing 5 people and injuring 10 others. The police confirmed the blast and later revealed that 9 explosive devices were recovered from the scene. Authorities linked the incident to scavengers, popularly known as Babambula, involved in the scrap trade.
Most scavengers normally pick from the dustbin, waste bin, and other things from all over. So maybe they have just picked it from somewhere and they brought it with the truck to Kano, to the factory where they normally upload it.
Barely 2 weeks later, a second blast rocked a smaller scrap yard in Kofar Dawano, Dala local government area. 2 more people reportedly lost their lives in the incident.
shi kuma guda ɗin sai da aka je asibiti amma ana dan an mai treatment ma haka to asibiti Allah ya mai rasuwa washi gari.
Ina tsaye kuma ya ga ana ta fitowa da bayan Allah kuma duk mutanen mu ne wan bayan ana fitowa da su abin ya rikita mu gaskiya ba mu ji daɗi ba amma muna fatan Allah subhanahu wataala ya kare sa wannan ne zai zama na farko kuma ya zama na ƙarshe. Jiran mu ya sosu sosai da sosai wallahi ba mu ji daɗi ba sai dai mu ce Allah ya ji ɗansu Allah gafarta musu.
The Kano State government announced a ban on the importation of metal scraps and waste from the northeast. The decision was disclosed in a statement by the Commissioner for Internal Security, Ibrahim Umaru, who said the measure is aimed at preventing further loss of lives and ensuring public safety. In Kano for News Central, Emmanuel Bagudu.
Joining us for more on this is News Central's Emmanuel Bagudu. Emmanuel, thanks so much for joining us. Can you provide more details on the two recent deadly explosions in Kofa Rua and Kofa Dawana, including casualties and injuries? What are we looking at?
Yes. What we're looking at is the possible infiltration of explosives into Kano State from neighboring northeast, talking about Yobe State and Borno State. And of course, that action being taken by the Kano State government is actually right, because you recall that also the Borno State government has banned the scrap business, the metal scrap business, but these guys continue to do it illegally, and they continue to take advantage of neighboring states who are into the business. And before you know it, these explosives that were being used, that were being littered around in the northeast during the insurgency days, are now finding their ways into the northwest, talking about the largest state in northern Nigeria, which is Kano, and that has claimed a lot of lives. The police have confirmed that these explosives are, military hand grenades, that are being used, to perpetrate violence in the northeast. The last one that happened just 5 days ago at Kofa Dawano, where, a small metal scrap yard, was involved. This particular explosive, according to the police, was a hand grenade, a military hand grenade, which was concealed in a damaged car airbag, which is among the scraps. And then it was being offloaded from the trailer. And then, of course, the gentleman that was, handling that, particular scrap, become the victim. He died at the spot. And then, of course, one other person died, in the hospital the next day, and the remaining, 6 persons were also injured. So it's a very, 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 clown call generally in the scrap market. And those who are involved in scavenging have to be careful. The state government, not just Kano State, of course, neighboring Jigawa, Yobe, and of course, Kaduna, Katsina, and Zamfara, they have to be careful because the scrap business is now becoming like a transit point for explosives. Yeah.
Right. And one issue that we have in Nigeria is always enforcement. So I have to ask, what measures are being taken to enforce the ban and prevent further importation of potentially dangerous scrap materials?
Yes, that is another issue that requires so much objective reporting and so much observation. We need to track that because, like I said earlier, that the Borno State government has actually banned the scrap business. But the truck that actually came in from the truck that actually brought that explosives in Dawano area in Kano actually reportedly came in from Borno State, from Maiduguri. So that is a call for the northern governors to look at. But maybe that's probably another style for terrorists to harass the people and make life difficult for the people. You have 7 lives have gone. A lot of people are injured, currently receiving treatment. So the issue of tracking enforcement of this ban on scrap business is something that everybody has to look at. Civil society, media, everybody has to put hands on deck and report cases like that, so that Nigerians will not keep on losing their lives and losing their property. So it's a very serious issue that is tracking. But as far as I'm concerned, as far as we have seen so far, if at all Borno State government have actually banned this business, those trucks shouldn't have found their way from Maiduguri to Kano. And of course, resulting in this kind of subsequent, hazardous experience. Yeah.
And how are the workers, the scrap dealers, or the urban miners? How are they coping? How are they reacting to the ban and the recent explosions? Is this a welcome development for them, or does it put them out of business entirely?
Certainly, it has been a very great lucrative business. But of course, the ban only concerns importation. Scavenging has continued officially in Kano, but the ban has to do with only the importation from the East. You can actually import scrap from Kaduna, you can import scrap from, Northwest, but the ban is talking about banning importation of scraps from the Northeast, specifically from the Northeast, talking about Bauchi, Yobe, Gombe, and of course, all those insurgent prone areas. So they are monitoring themselves. Of course, not going to be funny, but just that their livelihood has been reduced. They have to make do with the neighboring states of Kaduna and some other states. But anything coming from the Northeast, that's the scrap to the business that has been banned. Yeah, so they just have to manage that. Yeah.
All right, Emmanuel, I must say thank you, Emmanuel Bagudu there, joining us live from Kano State following the state government's ban of scraps importation from northeastern Nigeria, following two deadly explosions in scrap markets. Once again, Emmanuel, many thanks. To switch gears now, as the wife of Nigeria's President Oluremi Tinubu has donated 1 billion naira and 1,800 bags of rice to victims of violence in parts of Plateau State. The donation was made during a special town hall meeting in Jos, the state capital, as part of a Renewed Hope initiative aimed at supporting survivors, mostly women and children, to rebuild their lives. News Central's Chizoba Aniowe reports that this marks the First Lady's second visit to the state since her husband assumed office, underscoring her commitment to bringing relief and hope to communities affected by conflict. Her visit drew a warm reception from Governor Caleb Mufwang, former governors of the state, traditional rulers, and religious leaders, all pledging support for peace and healing in Plateau.
That's why I came to just appeal to you. Whatever it takes, bring peace to this land. We women don't fight. Women, do you fight? No. Do you carry arms? No. So we came here to appeal to the men. Do something to protect us. They want to farm. Do whatever it takes. I see a lot of older people here. What legacy do you want to leave behind?
I therefore want to thank you for this very generous donation. And I want to take full responsibility that no kobo will be misused. I want to pledge on behalf of the leaders of Plateau that we will not hold back. We will pursue peace with all men until God brings us a relief.
A lot of women have been displaced. We want women cooperatives to have farmlands. We plead with the governor, together with you and the security agencies, to map out these displaced areas for women to farm.
A member of the House of Representatives representing Urumba North South Federal Constituency of Anambra State, Princess Nna Buifi, has condemned the killing of at least 10 persons during a violent attack in Ugboji community in Anambra State. The tragic incident, which according to her occurred during a meeting at the Ebonyi community in Ugboji, claimed the lives of innocent residents of the state and was allegedly carried out by unknown assailants during what was meant to be a routine community gathering. While calling for justice for the families of the victims, the lawmaker provided context to the violence, stating that the incident was triggered by a leadership dispute within the Ebonyi Union in Ugboji.
Credible reports suggest that the conflict regrettably escalated and allegedly involved the invitation of external armed elements, which led to the avoidable loss of lives. Importantly, all indications show that this was neither an ethnic or communal conflict, but rather an intra-group crisis among members of the same ethnic background. I now call on all relevant agencies, including the Nigerian Police Force, Department of State Services, DSS, and the Anambra and the Ebonyi state governments to launch a full-scale, transparent, and impartial investigation into this heinous act. Those responsible for this atrocity must be identified, prosecuted, and brought to justice without delay.
You're watching News Now on News Central Television. We're going on a short break. When we return, evacuation continues in Isaleoko of Lagos Island as affected occupants lament. We'll bring you the details of this and plenty more just after the break. Stay with us. And you're welcome back. At least 4 occupants of a partially collapsed building on Adeniji Adele Road in Isaleoko area of Lagos Island are currently receiving treatment at a nearby hospital after it partially collapsed on Thursday. Officials of the Lagos State Emergency Agency, LASEMA, who chose to speak off camera, say no casualty has been recorded so far. News Central's Victor Mbadike has more.
One of such days again. Occupants of this building on Church Street, Isaleoko, will have to find a new home. Reports gathered that the occupants had refused to evacuate the building, despite being warned of impending danger on the distressed building.
They asked us to leave the building, that they wanted to renovate it, that the building is getting weak or the likes, and they collected money from us. On a norm, if they wanted to do that, they wouldn't have any reason to take money from us. But they collected last year due. They collected it around that December. We still paid for this year. Again, they collected it. Some people still paid this April. This is July 3rd now. They still collected the money. So they themselves, they are not giving us the instant that this house is actually weak like that. They don't have to be collecting money.
I just pay money. 6 months, they go back to me money. If they no back to me, I no go leave them. They go back to me money.
These adjoining structures had to be demolished for officials to get access to the partially collapsed building. Others lament the impacts of the situation while calling on the state government for help.
And I'm already preparing for my exam at this Saturday. My bag is still inside the house. And what I will use and fulfill the exam is inside the house.
As I see me now, I have nowhere to go. You can't just remove our heritage, our properties without any compensation.
They say one man's food is another man's poison. Scavengers take advantage of the situation to possibly make ends meet.
As evacuation process continue here, officials are expected to conduct thorough investigations and possibly inspect neighboring structures to prevent future occurrences. In Lagos for News Central, Victor Mbadike.
And thanks to Victor there for that update. We cross over now to the capital where we have our judiciary correspondent, Joshua Marayi, on standby at the Federal High Court in Abuja. Joshua, we have heard so far the fine that has now been imposed on Senator Natasha Akpoti-Oduaghan, plus being asked to issue a proper apology regarding an apology that she posted on Facebook. But let's hear from you. What's the latest? What's the update on this case? Seem to be having connectivity issue there. We'll try to bring Joshua Marayi back on when we solve that issue. In the meantime, we'll move on to politics. The All Progressives Congress, as a ruling party, has dismissed the newly adopted African Democratic Congress, ADC, a platform describing the 2027 opposition coalition as a group of deceivers and self-centered individuals driven by personal grudges. APC National Publicity Secretary Felix Moka made the remarks in a statement on Thursday, saying Nigerians are too discerning to fall for what he called the coalition's misguided agenda. While the Tinubu administration has recorded some notable achievements, it continues to face criticism from opposition leaderships who label the government a failure and call for leadership change. The APC, however, insists that President Bola Tinubu's government is delivering positive change and remains committed to steering the country toward growth and development. Meanwhile, the African Democratic Congress ADC 2023 presidential candidate Dumebi Kachikwe said the faction of the party led by former Senate President David Mark was deliberately structured to produce former Vice President Atiku Abubakar as the 2027 presidential flag bearer. Speaking to journalists in Abuja, Kachikwe said the group told him during their meeting that their main interest was reclaiming power. He dared the coalition leaders to prove him wrong by publicly declaring that the 2027 presidential ticket would be zoned to the south. Dumebi accused Atiku, Obi, and their allies of hijacking the party and lacking the capacity to lead it.
Build something on nothing. Can you shave a man's hair in his absence? Can you enter a man's house through the back door and declare yourself the landlord? These yesterday's men who represent a bad chapter in Nigeria's past have bought bad markets from a man who represents a bad chapter in ADC's past. Nigerians have watched in amazement as this group of mostly geriatrics shopped around for a party to prosecute their chopping must continue ambition. This further cements the opinion most hold that political parties in Nigeria stand for nothing and will fall for anything. They have told us that they are fighting for the rights of ordinary Nigerians and that they are on a rescue mission. But what is confusing to the Nigerians they want to rescue is that these men, made up of a former vice president, former governors, ministers, and political office holders, are the same people who have presided over the affairs of this nation for the past 4 decades. We have absolutely nothing to show for their decades of leadership.
Joining us now to discuss this more is a PDP chieftain we have in the studio, Tokumbo Pierce. Sir, thank you so much for coming on. Appreciate you for doing this with us. I want to start by asking what the PDP's official stance on the emergence, of the ADC-led coalition gives. Does it give internal party divisions and defection? What does this mean? Where does the PDP stand in all of this?
Well, about 2 months ago, the Governors Forum of the PDP made it very clear that the PDP is not about to join any coalition. The PDP is a brand name. The PDP exists in every local government, in every ward, in every nook and corner of Nigeria. Therefore, we're not. But we are interested, this is what the PDP has said, that we are interested in everybody who wants to join the PDP and strengthen the PDP, but the PDP is not about to join any coalition. Immediate past presidential candidate, Alhaji Atiku, who is now with the coalition, has not been able to convince the party to go with him. So going into the coalition, it is Atiku going into the coalition and not the PDP.
Now, it's so, are you saying that the PDP has separated itself from Atiku entirely?
Everybody in the coalition is an individual. They come on their own. This is very different from what happened in 2015 when the APC was formed. APC was formed and it succeeded principally because it brought 2 powerful political parties together, not individuals.
Yes.
Buhari brought about 12 million votes from CPC into the coalition. And it was joined by Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who had full control of the ACN at the time,
yes.
Southwest. So the combination now gave them a national spread. None of them had it. At this point in time, PDP has a national spread. That's why we don't need coalition. If anybody wants to join us, strengthen us, that's good. We didn't separate ourselves from Atiku. Atiku separated himself from the party and gone to join the ADC. So there is no problem. Let's see how the ADC survives.
What happens to his membership then?
It depends on him. I don't know what the official situation is. I know that Obi is having problems now with the Labour. They told him to either resign from the Labour Party or eventually he'll be dismissed from the Labour Party. So let's see what happens to Atiku. You can talk, you can say anything you want to say. After all, Wike says he's a member of PDP,
right.
But actions speak louder than words. You cannot be in 2 political parties at the time, or at the same time, officially and legally. But you can claim to be in 10 political parties. That's your business. But actions speak louder than words.
Now, ahead of 2027, one of the major conversations that has been at the political fore is zoning, and that all of the presidential candidates, especially for PDP, has refused to zone to the south because Atiku has claimed a ticket, presidential ticket, for two times now, or more than, 4 times at this point. And so it begs to ask the question, now that Atiku has aligned with the ADC, what happens to the presidential ticket? Who are you thinking that the party would push that ticket to? And would it go to the south?
The party, the PDP, doesn't give the ticket to anybody. We zone our presidential ticket based on the zoning that had happened months before in the election of our national chairman. According to our constitution, if the national chairman who will be elected, for instance, I believe in this August, this year, it comes from the north, then we expect that the presidential ticket will go to the south. So we are waiting. We are not going to announce, the PDP will not announce that the ticket is going this way or that way. That is undemocratic. That is irresponsible and reckless of a political party in a democracy to just unilaterally announce that somebody did. That's the problem that Tinubu is going to have. Without any competition, without a convention, they've declared him the presidential candidate. It is so wrong. The same thing happening to Obi now. That is why the ADC is likely collapse. Obi is going in there saying, I will do 1 term as presidential. And now you have Atiku who wants to be president. So we don't know. PDP will not have that problem. We're having our tensions now because we are going through the process in a legal way, in a democratic way. Once we elect a national chairman from the north, which we expect to happen in our next convention, reason being that the last chairman, Dr. Ayu, did not complete his term. So democratically, normally, and in fairness, equity, the North should have the position of national chairman to complete that term. If that happens, we expect that the presidential ticket will go to the South after we have had a convention and somebody emerges from that convention as a nominee.
Pending that convention, you were talking about, appointments of presidential candidates of political parties and saying that it is a democracy and so everyone has a fair chance in terms of equity and inclusivity. But we saw the fallout that happened in 2023 and 2022 with Wike, which has now become this juggernaut where his loyalty is being very vocal about where his loyalty lies. And it's somewhat of, I wouldn't say drive division, but it appears to seem that he feels division within the party. And so one has to ask, heading towards 2027, does PDP have their ducks in a row ahead of that national convention?
The PDP made a monumental mistake in 2023. The Constitution says that if a northerner is the national chairman, automatically the presidential candidate will come from the South. What happened in 2023 was that when we had our election for the national chairman, Dr. Ayu emerged from North Central. He agreed, it's on video, it's on record, that he will step down if a northerner emerges as the presidential candidate of the party. He refused to step down. That's what happened, which Wike and the other members of the Governors Forum were angry about.
Yes.
They had a legitimate reason. However, I was one of the spokespersons for Atiku because my position was, if you sold the ticket, the forms, nomination form, form of intention, you sold it to this person, you made it open. So anybody could buy the form. Once they bought the form, they were qualified to run. You shouldn't have sold the form and then wait for the man to go and buy the form and run the election and win the primaries. And then you say you should step down? No. Wike didn't say Atiku should step down. But Ayu, who has said on record that he would step down, did not step down. That's what caused the problem. So now I think what the party will do, which is my advice, it's always been my position that have it in writing, make it a legal document that indeed, if the Northerner is elected as the national chairman, you, the Northerner, who is sitting as the elected national chairman, will step down. Make it legal so that we won't have the problem we had in 2023.
PDP has gotten hit massively in the last 6 months with the defections. You have lost your stronghold in the South-South, Delta, Akwa Ibom, and the other states. And now the APC has become somewhat of a juggernaut. Now with the exit of one of the prominent figures in your party moving to his alliance to the ADC, does the PDP stand a chance? Does the ADC stand a chance? Because the ADC has big names at this point. There's David Mark, there's Amechi Rotimi, there's Obi and his obedient army, there's also now Atiku Abubakar. Does the PDP stand a chance even against the ADC?
First and foremost, you said there's been mass defection, and we have lost our stronghold in the South-South. We have lost big names in the South-South, but we have not lost our membership in the South-South. We have not lost the South-South. We have not, listen.
Yeah, sure.
In Delta State, Okowa crossed over to APC. So did the governor. However, when Okowa and the governor went to announce to the people, the members of the party, PDP, that they're going to APC, what did the people say? The people say, you're on your own, go on your own. Same thing happened in Akwa Ibom. Therefore, Nigerians understand that this is not an election for the leaders, for people who have eaten and overbloated. It is their own destiny that's at stake. Quality of life, employment, improvement in education, the health system, the economy, security. These are the issues that we have to deal with. So these leaders are crossing because they have something to hide. They have their own personal reasons. Okowa was under pressure. They said he had embezzled 1.3 trillion he had to announce. So on the pressure of that, he was coerced into going into APC. The same thing with Akwa Ibom and everywhere else. So therefore, the issue is clear. Our people are ready, members of the PDP, and even non-members of the PDP, Nigerian voters are ready for a change, a real change, and the real change can come from the opposition party that is grounded, not the ADC. Look at these ADC people. Kachiku has actually categorized them. These are geriatric, retired, tired people. Take each of them. None of them has a political party that they can bring. You said the only people that have anything whatsoever, maybe 10% or 20% of their party are Atiku, will bring about 10% of PDP. Obi will bring about 30% of Labour. The obedient party and the Atiku faction, they're going to clash now for who will be the president. Therefore, the whole ADC agenda is collapsed before it started. That is one. Number two, I heard Kachiku recently saying that these people, all of them, from David Mark all the way to Arebeshola,
yeah.
Who gave them the membership of the party? They're not even members of ADC as we speak now, because their membership is under contention. You can only run for office in ADC by their constitution if you've been there for 2 years. These people have come there for 2 days and they want to run for president. It's not going to work. That's number one. Number two, who gave them the membership? It is a suspended national chairman that told them that they are members of the ADC. So all of this is in contention. Right. The ADC will not survive. Obi's people will not allow him to go and be vice president in a ramshackle organization with all these hungry people. What is Amechi going to do for anybody in Nigeria? Or El Rufai, they don't have a record. Very bad record, dangerous individuals. Hungry, tired, shameless old men that should go in retirement after all they have done. You know why David Mark is so determined to go to it? What is he looking for? He tried to be national chairman of PDP. You know, it's from North Central.
Yes, I do.
He wants to contest in this coming August convention for national chairman of PDP. He has seen the light that he feels that it's not going to work. He's not going to get the ticket. So he switches. The same thing with Atiku. He's been hoping that he'll get a ticket
again.
The political climate in PDP now and the nation is that he's not likely to get it. So he's gone somewhere else for another one.
All right.
You run from here to there, from pillar to post, they're not going anywhere.
Well,
PDP is the only viable opposition to APC in Nigeria today. And therefore, what people like Atiku should have done was stay in PDP, help PDP strengthen itself, get united more and more, get ready to take power. If that's really what you want to save Nigeria, you should be helping PDP, not run away from PDP. Every time there's a problem, Atiku runs away.
All right, I wish there's enough time for us to get into it. But sir, I must say thank you for taking out the time to join us. APDP chieftain Tokunbo Pierce, Mr. Tokunbo Pierce joined us here on the News Belt. Let's go to a short break, shall we? When we return, it's DR Congo coming up. Rwanda, DR Congo agreed to end support for armed groups. We'll tell you all about this and plenty more after this break. Stay with us. And you're welcome back. And now it's off to outside Nigeria, where the Democratic Republic of Congo has pledged to dismantle the Democratic Forces for the Liberation of Rwanda, FDLR, as part of a peace deal signed with Rwanda in Washington. Foreign Minister Therese Kayikwamba Wagner has stated that the FDLR fighters will be encouraged to return home, while those who resist will face military action. In return, the DRC expects Rwandan troops to withdraw from eastern Congo. The FDLR, formed by ex-Hutu leaders linked to the 1994 Rwandan genocide, is seen by Kigali as a serious threat. UN experts have confirmed that Rwanda's army has played a key role alongside M23 rebels in recent offensives, seizing Goma and Bukavu. And off to East Africa, where crops wither in war-torn Sudan as power cuts cripple irrigation. Farmers in war-torn Sudan have suffered massive crop losses as ongoing power cuts crippled irrigation systems, deepening the country's food crisis. Hantoum Abdulhamid, a farmer in northern Sudan, said that he lost up to 75% of his crops this year due to the prolonged electricity outage. The end of the HIV epidemic is now within reach in Swatini as new medical innovations offer renewed hope. Globally, around 40 million people are living with HIV. The African region remains the most severely affected, with 1 in every 30 adults carrying the virus. In Africa, the epidemic is generalized, with women and key populations most affected. In Swatini, where HIV remains the leading cause of death, nearly 1 in 4 people live with the virus. And that is staggering. Well, to discuss this, we're joined by Dr. Joki Bahati. She's a medical coordinator at MSF. Apologies there, that's him. Doctor, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you for doing this with us. Now, what is the current HIV prevalence rate in Swatini, and how has this changed over recent years? 1 in 4 adults, that's staggering.
Yeah, indeed. First of all, I would like to say that Swatini has made significant progress in terms of fight against HIV. If you look back in the year 2000, I mean, we went from 21,000 new infections a year to around 4,000, for example, in 2023. And as well, the related death has decreased significantly thanks to the collective efforts of state actors and the diverse international support. Since they deployed high-impact interventions and innovations as well around, allowing the country to achieve or surpass the ahead of 2030 deadline, the triple 95% targets. However, the HIV is still a public health concern, since, as you said, more than a quarter of adults between 15 and 49 years old live with HIV. especially young females and girls, as well as some key populations, sex workers and gender minorities.
Now, in your experience, what are the main factors contributing to the high HIV infection rates in Swatini?
I mean, this is quite a complex question because it's linked to a complex interplay of multiple factors. Would it be structural, behavioral, and biological factors influencing people's vulnerabilities? For instance, economic hardship, gender inequality, and limited access to sexual education, health information, health services contribute to power imbalance within relationships, limiting an individual's ability to negotiate safe sex. It leads as well to intergenerational and transactional sex, multiple and concurrent sexual partnership, which is driven by circumstance and not by choice, as well as some biological factors like circumcision rates in the country is known to be low. As well, there are a high rate of other sexually transmitted infection, which increase the susceptibility to HIV.
Hmm. And what specific programs or interventions is MSF implementing to combat HIV in the country?
I mean, yes, historically we have been in the country since 2007, and we have been supporting the local states to combat the HIV, to fight the HIV. We went from increasing access to HIV/TB care by decentralizing the services in the primary healthcare settings, as well as bringing innovations and piloting certain innovation like task shifting from highly specialized professionals to less specialized professionals. And we successfully hand over part of these activities to the Ministry of Health. And as of today, we are more focusing on offering sexual health, a comprehensive sexual health package, which not only HIV, but as well takes other part of care that is around sexually transmitted infections. We talk about hepatitis B, hepatitis C, sexual violence, and with pilot innovations, that's where comes the pre-exposure prophylaxis, for instance, for HIV, including the newly rolled out injectable PrEP called cabotegravir. And we are generating as well knowledge, and that is an important part of it, to inform actually how to scale up those innovation and those new approaches.
Dr. I must say thank you for just this insight there, and well done on all the work you're doing in Swatini. Dr. Joki there, he's a medical coordinator for MSF for Swatini, talking to us about the HIV epidemic in the country. We switch gears away from Swatini and now back home to the capital of Nigeria, Abuja, as we have our judiciary correspondent Joshua Marayu on standby to give us update following Natasha Akpoti-Oduoga's appearance in Federal High Court today. Joshua, what's the update on this case?
Well, good afternoon to you. Live at the Federal High Court today, and today's judgment day. Unfortunately, Senator Natasha has been found in contempt of the court for the social media post she made regarding the satirical apology she made to the President of the Senate. And the judge ruled that a citizen or a person cannot choose which law to obey. The court found out wanting of contempt charges, and the court said that if a civil case, not a criminal case, so she will not be sent to any correctional facility, and that she is to pay a fine of 5 million naira to the court, and she is to publish an apology on the same medium she did that letter to the court, not the Senate President, to the court, and that she is to publish also 2 apologies on 2 newspaper dailies, the 2 national newspapers apologizing to the court for making that post while that case is being on. But now, to the crux of the entire matter, that is the suspension of Senator Akpoti-Oduoga from the Senate. Well, the court today said, in our words, said this judgment today will not be a judgment, but rather a ruling, and that there was no victor, no vanquish in the case. What do I mean by this? Well, reading our ruling today, the court, that's the President of Justice Binta Nyako, said the Senate cannot suspend someone for as long as 6 months, citing the fact that the entire calendar month for a rep of the people to sit in the Senate is 181 days. And for you to suspend someone for 180 days, it means you are denying our people the opportunity of being represented at the National Assembly. And these were the words of the court. These were the words of Justice Bita Nyako. The Senate can, and I believe, should recall the senator to continue representing our people. It is more or less telling the Senate to recall. It is more or less telling the Senate to recall Natasha, not ordering them, telling them to recall her. The court used those words because she believed that the Senate is an institution, and as regards that, they have a series of laws governing the institution. But the laws cannot overshoot. The laws cannot overshoot to suspend a senator for 6 months. So the court told the Senate to recall her back to the Senate.
So that means, just to be clear, this is not an order. This is them asking the Senate to recall her back because she's denying her constituents. They are denying her constituents representation, because if you're suspending her for 6 months, it literally means you're suspending her for an entire year. Right or wrong?
That is right. The Senate told the Senate to recall her, not an order. It is not an order. An order is a different thing. But the words of Justice Bita Nyako, she said the Senate can, and I believe should recall her back to the Senate to continue representing our people. All right.
Joshua, I must say thank you. Joshua Marayi, they are judiciary correspondent live from the Federal High Court in Abuja, giving us update on Senator Natasha Putu-Duanha's case against as this continues to proceed there. Pretty much that's all we can take at this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories. Nigerian Medical Association slammed federal government's plan to deploy doctors abroad. Court has ordered Putu-Duanha to pay 5 million naira fine and publish formal apology. And we also told you that DR Congo and Rwanda agreed to end support for armed groups. Now, do remember, they can send us your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number now showing on the screen. Do follow us on social media. We're at News Central TV on all social media platforms. You can always watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Go TV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and also live on YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Judith at TV. Good afternoon.